Everyone is talking about the leaked Supreme Court draft. This decision could overturn Roe versus Wade. You have all said
How many times would you kill the leaker?
in favor of any exceptions for abortions. Have you changed your opinion over the years? If so, what has changed your mind? You have 1 minute. Ms. Barnett, you're first.
Thank you. Whether this was a leak or whether it was a tactical operation, we will soon figure out. But one thing is clear. I am so very grateful that our nation is now having a very important conversation, and that is one of the most important conversations that is about life. I am the byproduct of a rape. My mother was 11 years old when I was conceived. My father was 21. I was not just a lump of cells. As you can see, I'm still not just a lump of cells. My life has value. And that is one of the reasons why it was so very disturbing when I saw Mehmet Oz running for this particular race, when I've seen him on numerous occasions, and specifically at the Breakfast Club, saying that my life was nothing more than a acorn with electrical currents. I am wondering if the good doctor has now since changed his position on that. My life is valuable, and so are the many lives that find themselves in the womb of their mother, whether in the womb or towards the end of that life.
Dr. Oz, you have 30 seconds to respond. That was directed at you, sir.
You know, one of the toughest endorsements you can ever get is from your mother-in-law. And my mother-in-law is an ordained minister. She wrote a lot of the pro-life literature in Montgomery County where we live, and she certainly understands that I'm pro-life. As a heart surgeon, I've operated on small children, a few days old, and witnessed the majesty of their hearts pounding blood, even though it's ill, because I'm operating on them, through those bodies. I would never think of harming that child, or even 9 months earlier, because life starts at conception.
All right, Mr. Bartos, now your 1 minute answer to the question.
I'm pro-life, and Pennsylvania has a proud tradition of sending United States senators to Washington who are pro-life, from both parties. We have a tradition of sending governors to Harrisburg from both parties.
This is the guy who in the last debate was just so boring. He was painful to listen to.
Is too important to trust from two people who are from Connecticut and New Jersey. I assure you, Connecticut and New Jersey do not have proud traditions of sending senators to Washington and governors to their state capitals who are proudly pro-life.
Dr. Oz, now your 1 minute response to the question.
I didn't finish. Sorry. I still have time, right?
You had your 1 minute.
That was 1 minute?
Yeah.
I'll yield my 1 minute to Jeff Bartos. I think I answered your question adequately.
Okay, I'll give you 30 seconds, Mr. Bartos.
John Fetterman has said with absolute clarity that he is going to Washington to make abortion legal on demand, anytime, any place. He has called abortion sacred. I will beat John Fetterman in November, and I will proudly take our Pennsylvania Main Street pro-life values to Washington.
Greta, I only had 42 seconds there.
Mr. McCormick.
Well, this leaked memo, if it becomes the court's decision, is a huge victory for the protection of innocent life. It's a huge step forward, and it also pushes the decisions down to the state level and voters where they should be. So we'll see if it becomes a ruling. If it does, I would embrace it, and I would be very, very happy about it. But I want to go back to Mehmet because I think that's not an adequate answer. If you go back to that Breakfast Club interview, which was 3 years ago this month, he talks about a whole different set of positions. He attacks the pro-life for picking fights. He attacks states that put in pro-life legislation as disrupting business. And this is something that...
Understand, McCormick is the one who has the most to gain by directly attacking Mehmet, because McCormick's in second place right now, behind Mehmet.
Another example of you being phony in terms of the positions you're putting forward.
Ambassador Sands.
Before I get to my answer, I just want to thank Newsmax for hosting this debate. I want to thank you. And I also want to thank the gentlemen on either side of me for showing up, because they don't come to many of our debates, as a matter of fact. One is Dr. Oz, and I think it's probably because he's what I call a minnow, and that's MAGA in name only, minnow.
Whoa.
So he's afraid. And then we have Mitt Romney McCormick next to me, because when he's in the Senate, he would vote like Mitt Romney, and we know what that means. But as far as life is precious. I will always vote to protect life at the beginning of life and at the end of life. The person who leaked this document did it on purpose to intimidate the Supreme Court.
Remember, there's no evidence of that.
It is unconstitutional. It will now go back to the states. And this is a way, if it's true, that the people are empowered to make the decisions in each state. I support the overturn of Roe v. Wade.